I am Anna, the facilitator of idtalks, and with a team of Salto Inclusion and Diversity, Maria, and Olaja, we are really happy to have you back with us. idtalks is a series of webinars, and we have been doing many of them in the past 5 years. This season, in spring 2025, we are partnering with our dear colleagues from Europe Goes Local, and we are going to have a closer look at municipal youth work practices and strategies that are gathered from throughout Europe. We have been traveling to different sizes of municipalities so far. We have been in a rural reality. We have seen a mid-sized city, and today we are going to go on a journey to Paris. Is it possible at all to provide local youth work in a global capital, in a city that everybody considers their home, but is actually a home to real 300,000 young people? And how to make them feel seen and heard? The city of Paris is keeping inclusion and diversity at the heart of its youth work practices, using the European Charter on Local Youth Work as a guideline to manage the complexity of youth work in a metropolitan area. And there is no one better to talk about this than Thomas Rogé. Thomas is working since 2016 as the head of Youth Policy Division within the Department of Youth and Sport in the city of Paris. And he is in charge of designing and implementing some of the youth policies of the city and working to address the topics of cross-cutting issues. And also more recently, from 2021, he was appointed as a project manager of Quartier Jeunesse. It's a very unique, new and innovative facility for young people in the very heart of our favorite city. And he is in charge of this, he was in charge of this process until the beginning of 2022. With many more experiences and years behind his shoulders in the field of popular education, youth, in the Ministry of Education, and also in the city of Paris, he is here to share with us his knowledge and his know-how. So Thomas, we're very happy and lucky to have you with us today, and I'm passing you the floor.
Thank you, Anna. Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be with you today. Thank you for being connected to this session. I will try to share my presentation. So maybe to go a little bit further, Anna's presentation, I will say a few more words about who I am and where do I speak from. So I'm Thomas, I'm 48. I work in the field of youth and education for, I've worked for maybe 30 years, and I started at a young age because I didn't went to university. I chose to work at the young age of 18, and I started to work as a youth field worker for an NGO specialized in the high school newspaper, and it was my first experience of youth work. And then I had the opportunity to work as a political advisor, to be a member of the staff of the Minister of Education at national level in France. I was in charge of high school student life and in charge of high school participation of students in the life of their school. And I went back to the NGO sector and then finally came back to the public sector as a civil servant, as I am today. And I started to work for the city of Paris in 2005 as a facility manager for students in Paris. And then, as Anna said, I became in 2016 the head of the youth policy division of the city. So Today, I'm a public manager. I'm no longer on the ground and in the field. I am in my office almost every day, and I work with a team of 35 persons, 35 civil servants. I know that some of them are connected, recognized some names. So hello, colleagues. And we are in charge of implementing and designing only some of the youth policies of the city of Paris, mainly in the field of civic engagement, youth participation, but also access to rights. And we have a big task of trying to make youth policies a cross-cutting issue, because as I will tell you, the city of Paris is a big administration, and it's sometimes difficult to work together toward the same goal. So, yes, city, big city. Paris is a big city, so it provides for young people a lot of opportunities. Paris for youth in France is quite an attractive city, and a lot of young people from the surrounding of Paris, but also from abroad, are choosing to begin their adult life in Paris, to be a student, because we have good universities, but also to start their career in Paris. So it's very attractive for young people, but it's also big, with a big power comes big responsibilities, like in Spider-Man. So in Paris, big opportunities came with big challenges. So a few words about Paris. Paris, as you know, is the capital city of France. It's a very historical and political, powerful city, and we welcome a lot of national institutions, but also international institutions in Paris. And it's a city at the very heart of Metropolis, the Greater Paris Metropolis, which is about 7 million people. And at the heart also of the Paris region, we call it Île-de-France Région, Région Île-de-France in French. So the Île-de-France region is maybe 12 million people. So it's a very dense and populated area. And Paris is Paris. It's the Eiffel Tower. It's a lot of good monuments. It's quite a rich city. It's a wealthy city. It has an annual budget of 12 billion euros. But it's also a city which I see difficulties, because the political situation in the world is not very easy right now, and it's not very easy in France. We have a lot of difficulties, and cities are suffering, and especially on the budget. It's quite a new area when we will not have as many means and power that we had before. So, but it's still a very wealthy city. 12 billion budgets, it can do a lot of things for the population. I will not tell you a lot of numbers, but I have to draw big pictures of what is youth in Paris. Paris is a city of 2.1 million residents, and 14% of them are from 16 to 25. Like Anna said, it's around 320,000 young people from 16 to 25. And Paris, like I said, is at the heart of the Greater Paris Metropolis. And we are surrounded by departments. And we are surrounded by one of the youngest departments of France, which is the Seine-Saint-Denis department. It's the youngest, but also the poorest department. So Paris is at the middle of a very diverse territory with a lot of diverse population facing diverse challenges. So talk about young people in Paris, 60, nearly 70% of them are in education, meaning they are in high school or are in higher education, and 22% of them are working. It's more than the average at the national level in France. So we have more students, or we have more young workers in Paris. One of the first challenges we face about youth in Paris, it's the attractivity of Paris. Because if at midnight we have a little bit more than 300,000 young people, at midday we have more than 600,000 young people, because on a daily basis, a lot of young people are coming to Paris to study, to go to work, or to go shopping, to meet their friends, to have social activities. So we estimate that on a regular basis that we have around 1 million young people at the same time in the territory of Paris. So it's a big challenge for youth policies, because we can try to put them apart and to tell them, no, you are living in Paris, so youth policy is for you, but no, you are just studying or just working in Paris, so be aside, we are not going to work for you. So we have quite a challenge on a scale issue about young people in Paris. This is an illustration of what we call the Paris paradox. When we talk about Paris, most of the time, everybody has a picture in their mind about Paris. Paris is the Eiffel Tower. Paris is a city of light. It's a city of lovers. It's a city of a lot of very positive things. And it's true. We are an historical city. We are a very wealthy city. We have a very nice city, a beautiful city. And for some of the young people in Paris, this is the reality. We have a very wealthy groups of young people in Paris who don't meet very big challenges to grow up, become adults, and to have the means of doing to do what they want to do. But Paris, this is also that. Paris is also made of poor neighborhoods, with young people meeting some difficulties, with neighborhoods plagued by drug issues, with a lot of Paris very attractive, and sometimes you come to Paris to go then to London. So a lot of young migrants are coming in Paris on a regular basis, and it's difficult for them because the city is very dense. It's very difficult to find an apartment. The housing in Paris is very difficult. So we have a lot of people living in the streets also, and for maybe 1/4 of the people living in the streets are under 25. So it's very diverse, and you have the two opposite hands of what is being young in Paris. This one, but also this reality. So you have to keep that in mind when thinking about what we face as public managers and in charge of defining youth policies in Paris. So, like I said, we have big opportunities, but also big challenges. The first one is a social demographic challenge. So we have nearly 70% of young people who are in high school or university, 22 who are at work, but we are 9% young people who are nor in employment, education, or training. And this percentage go up to 15% in poor neighborhoods in Paris. So we have quite a diverse situation for young people in Paris. It's not a very what is the word? It's not an homogeneous group in Paris. Also, but it's not only from Paris. I think everybody has the same problems, but the COVID crisis worsened inequalities for young people in Paris. And young people in Paris were the first to be impacted by the sanitary crisis for different reasons, but mostly because when you are young in Paris, if you want to finance your apartment, you have to work. Most of the young people coming from abroad or from national regions in France to study in Paris need to have a little job to finance their studies. They lost everything. So the new situation caused by the sanitary crisis tends to blur the traditional public policy segmentation. Before, being a student in Paris, it was very nice. You had access to housing for students. You can have a little job to be a barman, to be a waiter in a restaurant, and to finance your studies. It was quite okay. But since the sanitary crisis, maybe 50% of the young people we see in food distributions, food banks, are students in the higher education studies. So it kind of blurs what we try. We have the tendency of putting our publics in little boxes. Students, women, for young people coming from poor neighborhoods and so on. But the boxes now are not very closed. You can be students, but you can need to go to food aid to have food in your fridge. So it's a new thing in Paris. It's a thing that we had to work on. Also, Paris is a very dense city. It's, I think, I checked before, the fourth densest metropolitan area in the world, just between New York and Mumbai in India. So housing in Paris is very critical, and it's mainly critical for young people because it's very expensive and it's very difficult to find an apartment and to be able to finance an apartment when you are young in Paris. And so on. I will not continue, but just to tell you that Paris is not only a postcard pictures that we have in mind. We have big opportunities, but also we are facing big challenges when speaking about young youth policies. So the other big challenge in Paris is managing the size. And the size goes with a big complexity. The first complexity in Paris, we tend to say that nothing is simple because first, in the same territory, there is 6 layers of governments: the state, the region, the metropolis, the department, the city, which is also a department, and the city of Paris is divided in districts with 17 districts. So in the same small territory, because Paris is not a big area, it's very dense, but it's not very big, we have 6 layers of governments. And in France, we don't have any global framework for youth works. There is no law, and nobody is in charge. So if nobody is in charge, everybody is in charge. And everybody is doing something for young people. It's good, but it's not very coordinated. And it's not very easy for young people, mainly, to be able to navigate between all of this complexity. And even within the city of Paris, it's difficult. It's a big bureaucracy. We are 55,000 civil servants working for the city. We have 23 different departments: Department of Housing, Department of Youth and Sports, Department of Higher Education, Department on Social Services, and so on. And everybody is doing something for young people. And even and just to give you a sense of scale, the sub-department of youth, which I am a part of, is made of 70 civil servants. So 55,000, the global scale for the city, 70 only for youth policies in Paris. So we are not a very large group. I will not explain why, but it has some reasons. But just to say that we are not the majority working for youth within the city. And it's not only a bureaucracy, it's a very complex political steering system. Because in Paris, you have the mayor of Paris. The mayor of Paris has 33 deputy mayors in charge of youth, gender equality, work, housing, and so on. And we have 17 district mayors, and each district mayors have several deputy mayors in charge of youth, housing, gender equalities, and so on. So we have hundreds of political representatives in Paris, each and everyone wanting to do something in her or his own political territory. And Paris is it's a coalition. It's not only one political party. It's a coalition made of different parties, and they're working together, but they are not agreeing on everything. So it's very difficult. And to put it very simple, there is no global strategy on young youth policies in Paris. So how do we go around this complexity? And we try to implement, it's what I call to be strategic without a strategy. We try to organize our work in the youth field around four main pillars, four key pillars. The first one is youth participation. We try to make youth participate in everything we do. And we created 20 years ago, a little bit more than 20 years ago, a youth municipal city council. It's made of 100 young people, 50 women, 50 young men. They are aged from 15 to 30 years old, and they are asked by the mayor to give inputs on specific topics which are on the political agenda of the city each year. But it's not sufficient, because these young people are young people who want to be part of the youth city council. They are very nice young people, very smart young people. They like to participate, they like politics, they vote, and they're very integrated within the city and the social life of the city. But a lot of young people in Paris, like everywhere in the world, is very not very confident with politics, not very confident with institutions, not very at ease to speak before other people. So it's not very inclusive. The Youth Paris City Council is very nice, but it's not very inclusive. So what we try to do is to have, in complement of the Youth City Council, we try to have an ad hoc participatory system for young people. So when we need to do something, for instance, when we needed to open Quartier Jeune, like Anna said, we organized a consultation with young people, with the Youth City Council, but also with people from poor neighborhoods, for people with difficulties with justice, with people who come who don't have parents and who are living in a group home, and young people like that, to be more inclusive. So a youth city council, but also an ecosystem of youth participation with ad hoc participation for each and every one subject we need to work on. The second pillar is the right-based policies for maximum inclusion. Each time it's possible, youth policies in Paris are opened to people who are in Paris, because they are living in Paris, because they are studying in Paris, because they are working in Paris, just because they are here. And they can come by and benefit of the youth policies of the city. Sorry, my cat wants to speak with you. I'm working at home today, so. The third pillar is to try, because it's difficult to have a citywide coordination, it's complex, so it's a little bit easier to do it in the field with local stakeholders. And we rely a lot on districts in Paris to try to coordinate different stakeholders on youth policies. And we, like I said, we have 17 districts in Paris, and maybe 70% of them as a youth act decided with young people and stakeholders and signed by the deputy, by the mayor of the district, to try to make things more coherent and coordinated at a local level. And last but not least, each department of the city is working in silos. It's very common in transsectoral policies. It's very difficult to change things like that in a big bureaucracy like Paris. So we try to make them collaborate, to make them work together on very realistic and concrete operation or projects. For instance, Quartier Jeune. Quartier Jeune is Anna talk a little bit about that in an introduction. It's a new facility we opened in 2021, so it's quite young in Paris, and it's a one-stop shop for young people in Paris. It's a one-stop shop managed by the Youth Policy Division, but we have colleagues from the health department, we have colleagues from the work department of the city, we have colleagues from the sports department, we have colleagues from all departments working for young people in Paris, working in the same building. And it's this one-stop shop, it's a way of doing things, of making things transsectoral or cross-sectoral or transversal, I don't know the word, but it's doing things without having to put on a big plan or strategy before. It's a very realistic and very low cost and low tech and very simple things of doing things. It works. Last year in Quartier Jeune, we welcomed 185,000 young people. It's more than all other youth facilities from the city. It's twice of maybe 3 times more than all others youth facilities in Paris, and it works. And it doesn't cost a lot of things. I will not speak a lot about Quartier Jeune, but if you want, we have a concept notes on Quartier Jeune in English, and we would be able to share it with all participants if you are interested. I don't know what time is it, but just to say a few words. I didn't want to give a big conclusion because I don't think we are in a position to conclude anything about what we do because youth policies in Paris, for the reason I spoke about, are essentially, as of today, a work in progress. And we have to be very modest because we are no better than anyone else. We are facing a lot of difficulties. We have a lot of means. We do a lot of good things, I think, but also we are facing a lot of challenges. So it's a work in progress, and we have to be very modest about what we do. So it's more things to open the debate, discussion, but than to close my presentation. Second, I do think for a long time, my job was to try to convince everyone that we had to have a big plan in Paris for youth policies. That we have to write a global strategy to be able to implement things for young people in Paris. It's not, I don't think that anymore. Sure, it would be great to have a big plan or a big strategy in Paris for youth policies, but it doesn't have to prevent us from doing things, doing very concrete things. And that's what we try to do as of today, because we are at the end of a political cycle. Next year in Paris, in France, we will have municipal election. So it's not the time to create a new strategy. So we have to be very pragmatic and to do things good for young people in Paris. And we will talk about a strategy or plans later. It's not the time now. Third idea, youth policies can only as effective as those who are in charge. So what it means is that we have to put effort on training. And it's at this moment that participation in UGL and Democracy Reloading and Salto Youth is very important for us, because we are working right now on the kind of a curriculum, a framework for a youth worker in Paris. And the charter of local youth work is a kind of blueprint for us to define what is to be a youth worker working for the city of Paris. And it's a work in progress, so we don't have any conclusion to give you. I don't know if it will be a very big success, but it's a way we are engaging in, and we are very glad to participate in European networks and to share things. I will be in Prague next week to speak about youth participation in Paris, but mainly to meet other people who are working on local youth work and to share example and good practices, because it's only like that we will be able to do things better, I think, in Paris. And I try to participate a lot and encourage my team to participate in this kind of networks. And maybe we will see each other next week in Prague from some of you. So that's it. I could speak a lot more on a lot of things. If you have any questions and remarks on disagreement, it's okay. I would be very happy to try to answer or not. maybe.
Thank you so much, Thomas.
I was wondering how, I think it was very interesting, something that you said about the value of the youth policies are as good as the value of the youth workers or the people that are going to implement that. I do agree with that in a huge extent. And I was wondering, since the city of Paris is huge, and let's say that you don't have the names and phones of the young people that live there because it's a huge population, how do you cope with the frustration of implementing youth policies, but at the same time not being able to see the results in person, right? You act, at our level, you act like a ministry in certain, the city of Paris is like a ministry in many different smaller countries or small areas, but that's something that I was wondering about.
Thank you very much, Javier. In my case, the Greater Paris is 4 times the country where I live, so I can understand. Other questions? Let's collect all of them and then address them together.
Yes, on my experience, what I would like to say that is so difficult that municipality heard you to propose situation to on favor of youth. For example, I've been different time in contact with a municipality referent and say you have to do something, to do action with the collaboration of the municipality. But even with big problems to collaborate for collaboration. Last time is since 20 days I'm waiting an answer from the Commission for Youth Policies to have a meeting, and even now I didn't have any answer. So it's a very big problem to invite to do action for youth policy, local youth policies from representative of municipality. I want to say this is several years I work to disseminate all this opportunity in school, in municipality. So it seems like they don't want to listen about this situation. They don't want to implement something at a local level.
Maria, and where are you connecting from? Is it specifically about Paris or it's about another municipality?
No, I was saying the experience in Italy, in Rome, the municipalities of Rome, because are different municipalities, 2 and 3, that I try to propose meetings and dissemination about to sensitize the opportunity that municipalities can offer through a collaboration and the European programs.
First question of Laura, I think, about the period of transition between COVID and normalization. What is I think the new situation caused by COVID is that we met young people who had now multiple problems, not only problems on one thing, and mainly we met young people in difficulties relating to their mental health, but also on their economical status, on their work status, on housing status, and everything is more global relating to difficulties of young people now after COVID. So what we try to do mainly by opening a facility like Quartier Jeune was to have a more holistic approach of young people. And when we opened Quartier Jeune, we wanted to have a unified access. And when you come to Quartier Jeune, we have professionals will say to you, hello, how can I help you? And first we talk. And we talk about what you want. And if you need something, and if it's that something is proposed inside Quartier Jeune, I will bring you to see my colleague, and my colleague could help you. And if another topics arise in the discussion, we can call another colleague working on other specific issues. So we try to have a kind of a more holistic approach, because if you are looking for a job, but you are in bad health, but you have difficulties to have an apartment, I think like that, you will not find a job. So you can only treat one problem without treating all the others. So maybe if I understood the question, is to try to have more holistic approach, and not to put the responsibility to young people to be able to navigate between the bureaucracy and complexity, but to do that for them. And to be, the complexity is our problem, it's not the young problem. So first question. Second question is from my colleague from France, from Pantin, Soisic. I would try to, do we have a kind of support system with NGOs or other kind of things for people with more needs, and mainly young people with the disability? Yes, sure. We finance a large ecosystem of NGOs for young people in Paris, hundreds of NGOs. And some of them are specialized to help and accompany young people with more needs to access to public services, or to access to things like civic service and European Solidarity Corps and things like that. But also we have public facilities. We have 70 youth, it's not youth center, but to simplify, I will say youth center in Paris, 70. They are not managed by the city. They are public facilities, but they are managed by NGO for the city. And in these facilities, we have information center for young people with professionals who can help young people who needs to be helped to have access to call for action, for example, to become a volunteer or things like that. So we have a kind of a support system for people, young people who need to be helped in the actions to have access to their rights. Javier, question about the frustration. Yes and no. Sure, I'm not every day on the field, and I don't meet young people on a daily basis, but in all what we do, we try to have a kind of connection with beneficiary. For instance, we have financial aid to help young people to go in abroad, to go in holidays for the first time alone, without their parents or without a professional. And we give them money, a few hundred euros, to help them to have a travel project. And at the end of each year, we organize meetings with beneficiary to speak with them about their experiences. it helps us to be better and to simplify our ways of doing things, less bureaucracy, but also it's very rewarding for us because we meet young people who, for the first time maybe they went to an hotel. They didn't sleep at home. They went abroad, or they went in another city in France with friends, and it's the first time, and they are very happy about that. And for us, as a youth worker, it's very rewarding. So it's a kind of it's a way of dealing with frustration. But yes, sure, the size of Paris is not very easy to be in direct contact with young people. Maria asked us about the difficulty to have access to when you have a project you want to develop and disseminate on the territory, to have access to somebody to speak with and to have access to a clear decision. First, in Paris, we tried we went from global to local, and we tried to organize things not at citywide size, but in districts. And the mayor of Paris decided to give more power to the district mayors because district mayors are able to organize stakeholders meetings on a regular basis. They are able to meet young people on their territory, and it's a way of bringing the decision more closer to people, and it takes less time. But for instance, if you are an NGO in Paris, if you are young people in a neighborhood and you have a project and you want to have some money to organize your project, if you have to wait to every time we give some money to an NGO, we have to make the city council vote. And it takes several months in Paris, 6, maybe 8 to 10 months. So it's very, it's good for big organization, but for smaller organization, it's quite a long time. So for instance, for young people, we decided to be able to give them a little bit of money without making the city council vote. And it's much quicker, it's much easier. It takes maybe a few weeks, maybe 1 month or 2, but it's there is no comparison with what you have to wait if you have to make the city council vote. So it's bringing things more closer to the field. We call it territorialization in Paris, giving powers to districts, giving more powers to districts, and then to simplify bureaucracy for young people who have projects for the neighborhoods.
I want to ask how he measure the impact of all of the actions in one so big town like Paris. This is very
How do you measure the impact, Thomas?
If it is the one way.
And you are muted for the moment, yes.
Yes, the sound is not very good, and I didn't understand the question.
How do you measure impact?
Oh, yeah. We are very bad at this. I think my theory is that in France, it's a cultural thing. We don't evaluate things, and it's a pity. So we try to do. We are working on that. We try to do 2 kind of things. The first one, we try to make the beneficiary evaluate what we do. So it's what I said in answering to Javier. It's each time we implement a policy, we organize meetings and evaluation meetings with beneficiary. And we try to do it for almost every topics. And the second thing, I think it is in relation with training youth worker. And it's try to convey the idea that youth work is not a matter of opinion. It's not based on faith. You are not a youth specialist because you were younger at one time in your life, or because you have a children or a teenager at home. But most of people tend to think they are a specialist on this kind of questions because they were younger at one time, or they are children. They have children, and so we try to go from an idea of youth work based on opinion to an idea of youth work based on facts and data. And we try to implement the idea of having a data-driven approach of youth policies. And we try to build some metrics about young people in Paris. For instance, I will give you an example. Most of the time, the elective people in Paris asked us to work towards young people from poor neighborhoods. You have to work for young people from poor neighborhoods. In Paris, it's French word is quartier populaire, priority districts. Okay, but the major characteristic of a young people in the poor neighborhoods is to be a young woman studying in higher education in Paris. It's the majority. It's not what you think when they ask us to work on people from poor neighborhoods. They think about boys who are in the streets without work and who are doing some who have disruptive behavior in the streets. And but if you want us to be able to work on a situation, you have to be able to name the situation and to qualify the situation. And it cannot be based on opinion or faith. It has to be based on data and facts and science. And so it's a very major shift in our ways of thinking things. I think the administration is quite ready to do that, but elected people, not yet, because they think their opinions or their political options and gives them a better understanding of reality. Sometimes it's a good intuition. Sometimes facts are very stubborn, and it's not a good way of approaching things. I don't know if I was clear, but yes, it's a major shift for us.
Thank you so much, Thomas. And just maybe to remind everybody that you can still go back in about 10 days time to watch this video again and really just grasp on some very important messages that were here that are also transferable to other municipalities. Not maybe, unfortunately, these challenges are not unique to Paris. I think they are characteristic to many places in the world. For the moment, I think we have Olaja with us. Yes, we do. And maybe your first time for the ID Talks and you don't know that there was somebody in the background making graphic notes of the whole ID Talk today. it's our most creative of our team, Olaja. And we will ask you now to share your notes and some of your impressions with us before we close the day.
Yes, my internet is a little bit bumpy today, so I hope that you can see what I'm sharing and that you will hear me. Let's see. So I am sharing now, and these are the bits and pieces that I gather from all these impressions of what it really means to handle the youth sector in such a huge city, and how to navigate all these complexities and the administration or the bureaucracy part, which sometimes demotivates, and many people kind of stay behind or along the way. But we have heard some good examples of how to go from a very local level to actually reaching the whole sphere of such a city like Paris. So as usual, this is the first draft of the visual, and everyone who registered will receive the final one in their emails in a few days.
Thank you so much, Olaja. I see the smile on Thomas' face. I have a feeling you want to say a couple words after this, and maybe you take the opportunity to also give some final remarks if you have any before we close the day today. Thomas, back to you.
Thank you, Anna. Oh, I don't have much to say more, but I think this kind of exercise is very important for youth worker and youth professional. For instance, being here today with you, it's I needed to think about what I do as a youth worker, and doing that is a good way of being better and to never think everything is answered, and to ask a new question about what you do, what you could be better, what is good and what needs to be developed. And for me, it's very rewarding to be with you today, because I think it's a good way of training myself to be a better youth worker. So thank you all. I don't have much more to say, but I hope I will see you time in idtalks on other occasions. Voilà.
Thank you very much, Thomas. And thank you for really opening our eyes to this very different reality, which for many of us may be something absolutely unimaginable. And thank you for doing your work with so much love, also, not only as a bureaucrat, but also as a true youth worker. Thank you very much. Thank you to our audience here today. As you know, this is our pre-last ID Talk of this spring season. So we will be looking forward to seeing you back with us in the first Wednesday of April for our closing ID Talks with Europe Goes Local. And for the time being, stay well, take care, and we will see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.